Hello everybody, my name is Chrysius and welcome to another review of Dragon Ball Super. Before I get into the actual meat of this episode, I want to say that the video I was referencing in the last one, it will be uploaded. I didn't like the way the last one looked. I didn't realize how bad the camera angle was until I uploaded it. And since I recorded the video I was talking about the Saiyans and why it's okay for them to go Super Saiyan, I recorded that in the same session, so it's got the same weird camera angle, and I didn't want to upload it, so I'm going to actually upload, or re-record, and then upload it. So it will be here soon, within the next couple days. Thankfully, I don't have too much homework from college right now. But I digress. Now we're going to get into the meat of episode 114, and there is a lot to unpack in this episode, and I am really, really excited by a few of the things that happen. I like to watch something, and some people really don't like this about me, especially my fiance. I like to watch something, and any little thing I notice, any little detail, whether the creators like made it blatantly obvious or super subtle, I like to pick up on it and then make theories based on it. Because of that, she no longer watches detective shows with me, because I will typically find out the killer and the motive really quickly. My best was about 10 minutes into an episode of Lost in Paradise. Not Lost in Paradise. Death in Paradise. That's the episode. It's a BBC show. It's really good for anyone that likes detective episodes. But again, I was moving away from the topic at hand, and I have a problem with rambling like that. But I'm going to talk about a few of the things I noticed and what they could mean. And I'm just going to talk about what I really enjoyed about this episode. One thing I really liked was the animation was really, really good, and the fights were really good. And watching how Goku handled Caulifla and Kel, and on occasion how Caulifla and Kel handled Goku, it just made this episode really fun to watch. It's my favorite episode that I've watched, because remember, I haven't seen everything up to the Jiren fight. I know everything that happened before then, but I don't know, I never watched it. I just kept informed of what was going on. So from the Jiren fight to now are the only episodes I'd actually seen. I'd seen clips here and there. I've read synopses, kind of. There's a YouTuber I watch named Masako. I watched a lot of his reviews, which, since I do watch him, I try not to watch his review of the episode before I make my review of the episode. That way, there's no kind of cross-contamination. I work in a food industry for a little bit, so yeah, there's no cross-contamination going on there. But he's really good. If you want to check out his channel, I don't mind. He's probably a bit better than me. His name's Masako. He's really good. Check him out. But from here, I'll be talking about really the fact that Caulifla and Kel are really, really strong. And the reason that Goku's picking a fight with them as hard as he is in the condition he's in is because, I mentioned before, he is trying to, I think he's trying to kindle that Ultra Instinct that he had when he was fighting Jiren. Now, he doesn't remember much about it, as evidenced when Vegeta asked him what the heck he did, what that technique was. Goku couldn't really tell him, and then Frieza had to actually tell him what it was called, and that it got the gods all hyped up. So he's trying to consciously activate that by throwing himself at the hardest fight that he can. And right now, that fight with Jiren meditating very meanly, I'm going to say, like, there was no reason for Jiren to say, oh, everyone, all the strong people I'm here for are gone now, while looking at Goku. But I'm glad he did, because that was awesome. I like Jiren. I like Jiren a lot. But that's why Goku's throwing himself at these two. And the fact that they're so strong and that they keep getting stronger as they fight him, because everybody knows about the Zenkai boost, or if you don't know, it's called a Zenkai boost. When a Saiyan gets beat, they become stronger. I think that can even happen during the fight itself, which is why Goku and these girls are getting stronger at a quick rate, because they're just going off of each other, fighting. Sometimes he has the upper hand. In this episode, more often than not, they had the upper hand. A little bit in the last episode, too. Like, the last episode, Goku had the upper hand until, like, towards the end. And then this one, Goku had the upper hand, or they had the upper hand until, like, the middle, and then again at the end. But some of the things I noticed, like I told my coworkers, my favorite episode, or my favorite piece of this episode is when Jiren when his hand twitched, whenever Kale went berserk. And then that little touching moment between Caulifla and Kale when Caulifla brought Kale back into control, but she could still access all that power, but she was able to control it now. That moment, as cheesy as it was really touching. It reminded me a lot of, I don't know if y'all have ever seen Hunter x Hunter, but it reminded me of a lot of that scene when Gon went crazy. I'm not going to go into too much detail there if you haven't seen it yet, but there's a lot of that trope in anime where someone goes berserk and then their close friend or their boyfriend or girlfriend or whoever, their teacher, comes to them, and even to harm to themselves, which Caulifla was going through harm when she was holding Kale's hand and Kale was squishing her hand and squishing her into the ground, she still showed her love for Kale, which is what brought Kale back to reality. And I always like seeing that in anime. I think it happened once in One Piece, once or twice in One Piece as well, when Luffy went a little cuckoo. I've watched a lot of anime, guys. So that was a really touching scene. As cheesy as it was, I do think it could have been handled a little bit better. They could have taken a little bit more time, but I know why they didn't take as much time, and I know they jam-packed as much as they could in this episode while not making it look like they tried to put too much in, and I do appreciate them for that. But that was a really touching scene, and then from that moment until a little bit towards the middle, they had the upper hand and were like beating down on Goku. So Goku did what Goku does best. Showed him up and went to a higher form. And this time he did not go Super Saiyan 3. He decided to skip that because Super Saiyan 3 uses a lot of energy and he doesn't have that much energy. So he just went Super Saiyan God, which does require a lot of energy to go into, but not as much energy to maintain. Because God Ki is all about controlling it, where Super Saiyan energy is more about just kind of unleashing it and seeing how many rocks you can make fly by yelling. Super Saiyan God, or any God Ki, is about controlling it as much as you can. The more you can control it, the stronger you are. Because I feel like there's a cap, or close to a cap, that Ki can reach. And so the gods reach that cap. And then from there, it just goes to fine precision control, like the difference between, well, what we said, the difference between a martial artist and a street fighter, or what I was going to say, the difference between like a surgeon and some person who never really went to medical school but lived in a bad place, so he had to learn how to stitch people up. There are differences between those two. They're both effective, but one's more effective. One's more precise. So I think that might be the thing. I could be completely wrong. I can tell that the gods are still way above Goku. And of course there's people above the god, the angels. And you can see even with the angels, I think there's a cap for the angels. And it's just about who can have the best control over their bodies and the ki. And that's why Ultra Instinct is so pivotal in the fights that are going to be coming, especially the fight between Goku and Jiren, which I really hope comes again, because it's just who can control what better. Because I think what Jiren was doing when he was blocking Goku is a lot like what Goku was doing when he was blocking Trunks. When Trunks was using the sword and he was just pop, pop, pop with his finger. I think that was what Jiren was doing to Goku. So, I could be wrong, I could be right. I don't know. I literally just came up with that now. One of the things I did want to talk about involves Jiren. And again, I mentioned earlier his little hand twitch. He's going to wake up soon. And I really think after what happened at the end of this episode, the next episode, you're at the very end, you're going to see him open his eyes. And then everybody's going to be so hyped for the episode after that because we all know it's going to happen. I might as well say it now. No reason to hold the tension. Caulifla, I believe. Caulifla and Kale fused, which I wasn't really okay with at first. I had to sit down, I had to talk with my coworkers, and then I had to think about it for myself because a little bit of introspection is what I was going to say. The Porta earrings, I didn't really want to accept that they'd be okay in the Tournament of Power because I was told the rules were no flight unless you have wings, no killing, no outside items. But from what I've heard now, the rule about the items is no outside weapons or healing items. So it could be that the Porta earrings, since they're not technically a weapon or healing, could be okay. They did let that girl and her talismans slide. They let Master Roshi's bottle slide. And when I really started thinking about it, they've let a lot slide from the very beginning. 17 and 18, they are mechanically enhanced humans. They're just normal humans, but they are stronger than almost everyone on the Z team except for Goku and Vegeta, which they could be almost, or at least 17 could be almost equal to them. And Gohan, because my boy Gohan's like the strongest, or will be soon, especially if Piccolo gets kicked off. But again, that was a discussion for a previous time. But they are mechanically enhanced. They don't run out of energy because of the cores that they have. They are stronger than a normal human could become because of the enhancements they have received. So they're letting 17 and 18 slide. And I only figured that out when I was thinking about that guy, the Power Ranger guy that was trying to fight Frieza. He's just a guy in a suit. And you would think that a robot suit would be considered a weapon, but I guess all it does is enhance his abilities. It doesn't actually give him any weapons or anything, just enhances what abilities he already has, which is what the Porta earrings do, and which is what the mechanical enhancements in 17 and 18 do. So since these aren't weapons, I think that's why they're allowed. So that's the reason I'm not going to flip out over the Porta thing, which I was flipping out about it after I watched the episode. I went to work and was like complaining about it, and then they said, oh, well, Zeno thinks it's cool, so it's cool, but that's not enough for me. I mean, I guess it is. If the plot demands it, it's good. And if Zeno demands it, since he's the god of everything, it's good. But I like to delve deeper, and I like to think more about why it would be okay. And so I was just running all these ideas in my head, and then I realized, oh, all of this stuff's been okay because they're not healing items or weapons. They're just enhancements or tools to be used with a technique, like the bottle or the talismans. And I really didn't like those talismans until I was thinking about this either. But that is when Goku, when he went Super Saiyan God mode, he was decimating Caulifla and Kale. Like, they were not standing a chance against him. And then I realized that, again, that Goku is the king of stealing moves. He stole 3 moves, I believe, while watching this episode. He stole Tien's Solar Flare, I believe is what it's called. I'm really sad that I can't remember that, but I'm pretty sure it's Solar Flare. He stole that from Tien. He even mentioned it. Sorry, Tien, I'm going to borrow your move. And then he stole Yamcha's power, or Spirit Balls, which are the blue things he shot at Caulifla and Kale and chased him around with. And after that, he went across animes and stole this. Freaking Yusuke Urameshi's Spirit Gun. I haven't really seen anyone in Dragon Ball use a gun like that, other than an actual gun, which humans use, and apparently the Ultra Elites that protect the universe use as well. Y'all Jockos, who I'm talking about. But no, that's straight up Yusuke Urameshi's Spirit Gun right there. He went across animes and stole that. That's the major problem. Anyway, but when he was pulling that out and kind of toying with them, that was great. And he almost had them knocked off, which surprised me. I didn't think Goku would go for a knockoff with them. Like, I knew he was testing himself, but I didn't think that he would actually push them out of the ring, because he hasn't reached that goal yet. He hasn't reached Ultra Instinct or anything near it yet. At least I don't think he has. So when he went to knock them off, that genuinely surprised me. But then they did what I really didn't want to believe what would happen, but I'm okay with now. They put on their Porta earrings. They had a more sentimental moment about being together, and then they actually became together and became Kefla. That's what it's called, Kefla. And oh my goodness, Kefla is a beast. And she is a beast that is hard to reckon with. I think she only hit Goku 2 or 3 times, and he couldn't do anything about it. She's faster than Super Saiyan God Goku. She's stronger than him. I think she did punch him through a rock. And she's just all around better than Super Saiyan God Goku. I'm not saying she's better than Goku. Just at this moment, she is stronger than him. Don't bite my head off. But it's true. If y'all seen it, y'all know what I'm talking about. There's no way he can beat her like this. Even if he goes blue, which that line that I can't remember if it was Caulifla or Kale. I think Kale said it. It doesn't matter if it's red or blue. We'll beat them both the same, before red started beating the crap out of them. Now they can actually mean it. Red or blue, they're going to beat them the same. The only thing that's going to stand up to them is Gogeta. Because I don't think that Vegeta and Goku have the Porta earrings like they were given. It showed us both the Kais of Universe 7 during that episode, and I checked. They both have their earrings on. So instead of seeing Vegito, I think we're going to get to see a fusion dance, and finally we're going to get to see Gogeta in canon, which will make me super happy. I like Gogeta. I like Goku's personality. Vegeta's personality is okay, but I really like Goku's personality. Usually I like the more serious characters like Sasuke and Neji in Naruto. They were my favorite, as later on Itachi was as well. But in Dragon Ball, I really do like the fun-loving kind of Goku character, because, again, I've watched all of Dragon Ball, the original. I've watched most of Z, and it's just a personality that I really like watching. And so having him in the reins of that kind of power and the way that he kind of just taunts his enemies, just beautiful. Oh yeah, and in Bleach I like the Quincy. I'm really mad. Yuru Yoshida. There we go. Again, I've watched a lot of anime. I have a lot of people's names in my head, and I don't know Japanese that well. I'm trying to learn it, but coming up with their names is kind of hard sometimes. But I digress again from the actual episode. Now, the things I noticed in this episode... Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. Well, before Goku went red, I believe, when Frieza met Power Ranger Dude, a lot of people probably wouldn't forgive me for not mentioning this, which I will mention it later. It's just in the actual review part. Frieza does once again show his contempt for the Saiyans and wanting to take Caulifla and Kale from Goku and beat them for himself. Which will actually lead me into a good segue for what I was going to talk about. The things I noticed in this episode, the really big one that the animators wanted us to notice was Jiren's hand twitching. That lets us know that he will be waking up soon. And I believe that when Caulifla's and Kale's fusion, I can't ever remember it. Kalfa is what I'm going to call it. I'm probably wrong. But Kalfa, when she beats Goku, I do believe Jiren will wake up. Because I'm not going to put it past them. They're going to toy with them, and then they're going to become Super Saiyan. And when they power up in that form, I really believe that that energy is going to make Jiren wake up. And probably at the end of the next episode, we're going to see his eyes snap open. But that's the really big one. Everybody knows about that. The other thing I wanted to talk about, something that I was actually very against. A lot of people said, oh, I want to see Vegeta fight Goku. Or not Vegeta. I want to see Frieza fight Goku. I want to see Frieza try to kill Goku. I wonder if Frieza will kill Goku. And I kept saying, and mostly it was my coworkers I was talking to about this, but I kept saying, no, Frieza's not going to do that. He wants to survive. Getting rid of Goku is going to lower their team's chance of surviving. And I was very adamant, as much as I hate Frieza, Frieza will not fight or kill Goku. And I was very adamant about that until this episode. Because when Goku came in and stopped Frieza from using his Death Ball, I think? I can't remember Frieza's attack names very well. It's the one he uses to destroy planets and Saiyans whenever they're running amok. Which I guess it was a lower power version because he didn't want to kill them because that would get him disqualified. And I heard that disqualification also means erasement for the person that kills someone, which is a good reason for Frieza not to kill. So I don't think he'll. I always call Frieza a she because I thought he was a girl when I was growing up. Okay, you can't blame me because of his voice, but I thought he was a girl. Anyway, so Frieza probably won't kill Goku, but I do believe he'll fight Goku, and he may even knock Goku off the ring. And the only reason I think that is because when Goku put his hand on Frieza, Frieza didn't like that. And when Goku turned his back to Frieza, he was ready to put a hole through Goku's chest. He had his beam up and ready until he decided better of it, and Goku kind of threatened him. But he decided better of it and to watch these Saiyans fight, because what's better than a little pastime show for Galactic Emperor? Might as well watch your previous servants, even though the Universe 6 Saiyans weren't his servants, but might as well watch your previous servants fight and then pick off whoever the winner is, take them when they're at their elevated high of winning, and then just crush them. I think that's what Frieza's going to go for. And he was probably hoping Goku was going to win because he loves to crush Goku. So that is another thing that that caught me and caught my attention. I didn't really think that Frieza would go against Goku, but apparently he will. At least in this arc. Of course, I figured after the survival arc ended, Frieza would go after Goku with all his might. And then I already talked about another thing I noticed, which was Robo-Man's suit and how he was able to wear that. And that's what made me realize that the Porta earrings are okay because 17 and 18 are also okay. And the items that Roshi and that little Shadow Girl used were also okay. So I think that's all for the things I noticed in this episode. There was something else. Krillin. Everyone else was freaking out when Goku was getting beat, except Krillin. And it's because he believes in his buddy. Krillin is the most loyal character there is. And I just really wanted to throw out... I like Krillin, so I want to throw out a shout out to him. I like that he was not freaking out like the rest of them, that he believed in his friend, even when his friend was getting beaten. Now, something else I think is going to happen. Vegeta and Toppo both noticed when Caulifla and Kel fused, which means Jiren also noticed it, just didn't show us on screen. I think what's going to happen is Vegeta's going to go and run to see who this new power is, like he did when Piccolo became Super Namekian Piccolo when he fused with Kami. He's going to go and run and see who this new power is. And he's going to see these fused girls. Goku might have to tell them that they fused because he might not know, or they might be they might have gone Super Saiyan by then, and then he'll know, because I really think that Kefla's aura will be that kind of golden green kind of aura that the Berserk Super Saiyan has, or the legendary Super Saiyan has. So I think it won't take Vegeta really long to realize it. And then will come the part of Vegeta having to suck up his pride and fuse with Goku. Because as much as he has pride, he did just have a baby. So he's got a baby and a almost teenager on Earth. And he can't let them be just evaporated. So he's going to have to suck up his pride. And I don't think Goku's going to take much convincing to do it either. So that they can beat Kefla. And then I think that's not going to happen until after Jiren wakes up. So Jiren might come after Kefla, which is when Goku and Vegeta will have their talk and decide to fuse. And then, well, we'll just have to see what happens after that. I really want to see a battle between the two fusions and Jiren. I doubt that'll happen. I'm not entirely sure. Jiren can probably take Kefla, but one thing I wanted to mention before I leave, because I'm about to end the episode, one thing I wanted to mention is, for the people who think that Vegito is stronger than Kefla, first off, Vegeta's not going to show up. They don't have the Porta earrings. Stop thinking about that. So I'll go to Gogeta versus Kefla. And for pure power-wise, I think they're going to be almost equal. I think Kefla will have a slight advantage, but of course Gogeta will have an advantage in skill. Because this is Vegeta and Goku we're talking about. They've been literally fighting battles since they were tiny little Saiyans. Vegeta was taking over planets by the time Goku was the age of winning the World Martial Arts Tournament. Vegeta had already taken over a few planets. So they've definitely got skill on their side. As for power, that's going to go to Kefla and Kel for me because of... Kefla's fusion because of the unbridled power that's inside of Kel. And a lot of people are going to say... A lot of people keep saying Vegito. Vegito's not going to happen. Vegito is the Porta. Gogeta is the fusion dance. And the fusion dance is what's going to happen. If it happens at all. It might not. But, so, I don't remember. I know there's a time limit. And I think the time limit is 20 minutes for the fusion dance. It might be a little longer. It might not. But, that's not going to matter. Because, they're going to last longer. Kefla is than Gogeta. So if Gogeta can't end it quick and push them out of the ring, they're done. Like, Kefla's going to last longer. Even if they did both somehow Porta fuse, which would bother me because I saw both the Kaioshin, they had their earrings on. If they did both manage to do a Porta fusion, there's that hour-long one, but you know Vegito only lasts for about 20 minutes. 15-20 minutes because he uses so much power. And you might be thinking, Kefla is only going to last 15-20 minutes because she's going to run through power just as fast as Vegeta would. But again, that's not going to happen because they have that almost unlimited amount of unbridled power from the legendary Super Saiyan that is Kale. You've seen how much power she used when she first went Berserk. And she wasn't even tired the second time she went Berserk. And when she fused, it almost seemed like there was no weakness from Caulifla being so tuckered out because you have that extra energy from Kale. And there's just so much inside of the legendary Super Saiyan that I don't think they're going to time out. I think they're good for the entire hour that the Porta will last, which you've only got like, what, 21, 22 minutes left in the tournament? And Gogeta won't last more than Gotenks, I don't think. Well, Gotenks went Super Saiyan 3, which wasted a lot of energy. So, he might not. He might last for 15 minutes. But, unless Jiren comes in and knocks both of them off, or knocks one of them off, or they could knock Jiren off if they work together. I'm not sure. But, just barring Jiren, just them two fighting, I've got to give the fight to Kefla. But I'm going to go ahead and end the episode here. This has actually been the longest episode I've done. I hope y'all enjoy. If y'all do, leave a comment below or like it. Let me know how you think I'm doing. Let me know if you think I should make the episode a little longer, a little shorter. Just let me know what you think. Alright, so until next time, see ya.